welcome to a spontaneous, free, live coaching session. Today we're going to talk about Lesson 2 in the Tidy and Relax Your Mind course. Last week we covered, let's see what the name of it was called, Beginning to Separate from Your Mind. And today we're going to move on to Lesson 2, I Am Not My Mind. I hope that you are enjoying the course so far. Hello everybody hanging out on the Instagram world. We are going to have another free live coaching session if y'all are ready. If you're not ready, just watch the replay. Do it on your own time and in your own pace. There is no rush to this stuff. We all have to listen to our own self, and we have to sit with this information. This isn't something that you can just rush through. A lot of times you really need to sit and digest what is going on here so that you can finally just get it and have your mind open to these things and accept these things so that you can get better and better and better and have more peace. So here we go. We're going to look at I Am Not My Mind. And if you want to follow along, you can go to tidymind.teachable.com and you can look at the 3-day free preview. Or if you've purchased the course, just go in, make sure you're logged in, or it'll look like you need to buy it again. Just log in and your content should show up for you. Teachable is my online teaching platform where I do coaching. If you want to join a course, you just come in there and I'm going to answer your questions inside that course. So yeah, I encourage you to do that. It helps to have that interaction so that you have questions, I can just answer it for you there. So let's get started. If you are ready, I am not my mind. This week's focus is separating from DJ Judge. As we talked about last week, DJ is that voice in your head, the voice that is talking constantly all of the time. That is what we call DJ Judge. Can y'all hear me okay? I'm trying out this new microphone, and usually I use my headphones, and hopefully it is working. If you can, like, wave or something. Anyway, I'm going to assume that y'all can hear me. Yes, thank you. I see a heart coming up there. Alright, so one of the best tricks for separating from DJ Judge is to change your language. As long as you continue to identify with the mind by thinking it is you, you are powerless to change your inner state. Whenever your DJ Judge or your mind says, I feel, I think, I say, I think we talked about this last week, I say, I am this, I am that, you will change the language to DJ says, feels, thinks, is this, is that, etc. We're just going to go ahead and read through this. I think we covered that, but we'll move on to lesson 3 if we did it. By separating, you will put yourself in a space of relief from the emotional pain that is being created and now have the power to work with the mind. Separating from the mind is step 1. Understanding the mind is step 2. Loving and comforting the mind is step 3. I don't know if since our last live, if you've had a chance to really pay attention to what your mind is saying in the background. It usually has about 5 or 6 records that it will cycle through. Oh, well, this person and that person, or this future thing or that future thing, or that past thing that still haunts me, or that past thing. So it kind of cycles through those things. And the purpose of what we're going through with lesson 1 through 30 is to first get to know your mind and what it talks about. You probably already know, because it's probably been driving you crazy in the background talking about this or that for a very long time. And you've probably been stuck in that and not knowing that you had a choice to step away from that dialogue and not entertain that dialogue and not give it the attention that it is seeking. You probably didn't know that you could move away from that and not have to worry about that, or not have to figure this out or figure that out, or not have to feel so much guilt, shame, and whatever else you've been feeling, whatever emotions keep being stirred up about this thing. You didn't know you didn't have a choice in that because you were your mind. You were still connected to your mind. But now, over the course of this 30 days, we're going to be getting to know what is going on in there, what it is saying, and how we can start to step away from that and even change the conversation going on inside our head, which is very helpful, especially if your mind talked as much as my mind did, and usually about stuff that was really hard to hear. You will be repeating this process as often as needed until the mind begins to unwind, calm, relax, and develop healthier habits. Today's practice, listen to part 1 on how to use the tidy mind. Now this you can find on YouTube. You don't have to purchase anything. It's free on YouTube. Part 1, how to use the tidy mind. It's actually called Tidy Mind How To Part 1. If you want to write that down. Tidy Mind How To Part 1. Step 2, make room for peace. We're going to use peace instead of joy by tidying up and cleaning out the emotional clutter. Today's practice. We will spend this week in the identifying stage of our tidying up emotional clutter. Just like if you were to go through your house and be like, oh my gosh, this is such an overwhelming mess. I've got piles here and piles there and things stashed in drawers. And so right now you're taking an inventory of your tidy mind house. You are listening to your mind. You're getting to know it. You're getting to know the things that it is saying. Why? Because all those things are disturbing your emotional body. You are having trouble hearing me. Let's see if I can fix it. I may not even be. Yeah, I'll switch to my headphones. I don't know. I kind of had that feeling. I don't know why. Maybe because I don't normally use these this microphone, but I thought it might look better or sound better. Hold on one second. Let's see if we can fix this. Okay, sorry for all the noise. I'm sure that sounded horrible as I was dragging that around. Is that any better? Hopefully it is. Okay. So as I was saying, this week we are going to be taking an inventory of your mind, because your mind and all this stuff that's going on in there, something going on outside. Thank you, Carrie. Good. I'm glad that's better. All that stuff going on in there is disturbing your emotional body, which means you're walking around not feeling good. Okay? You may feel like something's wrong, but you just don't know what it is, or maybe you know what it is, but you can't get past it, and you can't feel better, and you can't feel relief, which means if you're constantly disturbed emotionally, you can't live the life that's right in front of you. So that is the purpose of this. This is a tool that you can use to start to identify what's going on. Sorry, I got a text. All kinds of interruptions today. The identifying stage of our tidying up process. If there is no emotional upset today, so everybody check in with yourself right now. Like, how are you feeling right now? I can go ahead and tell you, I have felt off, but couldn't really, had a hard time putting my finger on it. But if you sit with it long enough, you'll find it, or it'll come to you. Be like, oh yeah, that thing happened, or that thing happened yesterday or 2 days ago, and it's still kind of stuck in the background spinning. I never really dealt with it. So just check in with yourself. If there is no emotional upset today, there are no boxes being presented to you for clearing. Your closets are closed, and your mind is not dragging out boxes and creating messes. You are tidy. You're good. Continue on with your day and move on to, I call these joy steps, but I'd like to call them peace steps. Peace step 3. If there is emotional upset, so if you are emotionally upset, or your mind is emotionally bothered in any way during today, a box is being presented for clearing. So it's a box in your basement is open, and you are feeling that emotional disturbance in your body, and you're like, okay, there's something here that, thank you, universe, that you brought this to my attention, because once you get free and clear of it, you have more power to hold on to that space of peace. So recognizing those things as they come, and then clearing them in the moment if you can. Sometimes that's possible. Sometimes your mind's not quite ready to let go of it yet. It's a process. But if you can close that loop in that moment, you become more and more free of fear, which makes you more free in a lot of other aspects of your life. So grab your journal and write Today, my mind is feeling blank. Okay, and just write down any emotional word. Sad, happy, depressed, upset, anxious, odd, out of sorts. I can't figure it out. Write down anything. It doesn't matter what you write down. Try to find an emotional word to put in that blank. Today, my mind is feeling what? Notice we are changing the language to my mind is feeling instead of saying I am feeling. Hint, your mind is afraid of feelings. Your mind likes to run from feelings. You ever known anybody who always wants to have that? No, I'm a positive person. I'm a happy person, and they'll constantly identify themselves as that. A lot of times that's because their mind feels safer. No, they don't want to be judged as a negative. They've heard other people be judged as negative or be judged as, they're just a wreck, they're an emotion, their life's a mess, and they don't want to be judged in that way. That mind wants to hold on to the identity of, oh no, I'm good, I've got it all together, I'm always happy, I'm always, that's a good sign that there is a mind. Hey Max, I know you're here. Max is my son, and he just texted and asked if I could call him. I will call you in probably about 15 minutes, if that's okay. Because I'm doing a live at the moment. Okay, hopefully you got that. So, your mind is afraid of feelings. It doesn't want to feel bad or uncomfortable, yet it is the part that stirs up the emotional body with its fears. So it doesn't want to feel bad, but yet it is the part that talks to you and keeps all these things going and keeps you all stirred up. Your mind may resist this identifying stage, especially if it wants to hold on to the identity. Oh no, I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. I'm good. It's like, well, I feel something in here and it doesn't feel great, okay? And it's okay. There is no shame in not feeling good. It's okay. It's an emotion. Emotions are not to be feared, and you'll get more into that in lesson 5. But that doesn't identify you. It doesn't make you a depressed person, an anxious person, unless you let it. It's just an emotion. It's not what you are. You are a soul who is whole, who is fulfilled, who is complete, who is healthy, who is stable. That's what you are. You are in that energy. But then your mind wants to come up with all these labels and identify you as this and that based off of the emotions that are passing through you. And then it keeps you stuck in those emotions. Anyway, so it may resist this phase of, today my mind is feeling, and it may say, oh no, I'm fine. Or it may blurt out like mine does, I never had that problem. I've never had that label of I'm a positive person. I actually had the opposite. Like I knew I was negative. I used to be the most negative person you ever met in your life. Like everything was so critical and so wrong, and I complained all the time. That was me. So my mind would definitely tell me, well, I'll tell you exactly what I'm feeling. So it had no problem with identifying where it was. It would rather live in denial and pretend it is fine. And a lot of people will tell me that, oh no, I'm fine. Like, okay, but I feel more than that, and I think there's something in there. And if you say you're fine, it's okay, but you've had those conversations with people. You're not fine. You're crying, okay? Like that's not fine, but it's okay to be crying. If you feel tension, anxiety, stress, pressure, or any other uncomfortable energy in your body, your mind is not fine. It is afraid of something, and that is okay. So don't let it talk you out of checking in on your feelings and emotions. Identify the emotion and write it in your journal. We will be building on this identifying stage this week, but for today, write down the feeling in your journal as they come up. We are labeling the boxes. So if you're watching lesson 2 today, I want you to get out of a journal or just a pen and a piece of paper, or if you're at a restaurant, grab a napkin, write on there, and write down, today my mind is feeling what? It could be stressed, overwhelmed, whatever. Okay? So this is how we're going to start identifying what's going on inside of your tidy mind house. Step 3, appreciate your tidying work by noticing the moments of relief, contentment, and enjoyment. We'll be creating a habit over the next 30 days of noticing and appreciating those moments as they come. At first you may notice them, but your mind will not allow you to enjoy them because it is not relaxed enough yet. If you're like me, I had a mind that was so, I talk about unwinding the mind. My mind was so wound up all of the time. It was upset about something, wound up about something. It was like so twisted up tight, like so uptight about everything. And by the end of the day, my shoulders were up like this, and I'd lay in the bed and I would have to consciously tell myself, like, let go, let your shoulders down. It's okay. That's how on edge my mind kept me all of the time. So as you're doing this process, the mind starts to feel safe, more safe with you, that you are now parenting it, that you are now in charge, that you are now caring for it, that you are not ignoring it, that you will talk to it, and you will help it meet its own emotional needs, and it starts to calm. And it starts to get used to the fact that you'll stop what you're doing and notice what it is talking about and talk to it and help it to calm and to relax. And then it starts to see what that relaxed feeling feels like. Because for a lot of us, that's a foreign feeling, like a relaxed mind. Like, what is that and where do I buy one? And you don't have to buy one. You can get it, but it takes making a commitment to yourself to work on that very important relationship with me, myself, and I. So you have to start there, and you have to say, I have to care for this mind. That's not anybody else's responsibility. That is my responsibility to take care of this mind that is my constant roommate, that is always attached to me, and that is what you're doing here. If it's not relaxed enough yet, it is still holding on to too much fear. So, and that's okay. Wherever you are, that's okay. You're at least starting to get some awareness and identify these things, and it's okay. Wherever you are, if your mind is so full of fear and it overwhelms you 50 million times a day, that's okay. You are here now. You are listening. You are getting some tools. You are starting to move forward, and you're not going to stay stuck in that. The mind will try to keep you stuck in a state, stuck in an emotion by feeding the stories around it. And you just keep giving it your attention and feeding that and fighting against it and arguing with it and agreeing with it and whatever you're doing that is giving it attention, that keeps you stuck in it. But right now, no matter where you are, we're going to start moving out of that. And for a lot of you, I know you may be in intense suffering. The wind is going crazy today. So if you hear the wind chimes out there, we've got some storms coming in from Texas, I think. I'm in Alabama. So just know that as you go through this process, you are teaching your mind how to relax. Okay? However, by the end of 30 days, you should be able to find some joy. Now, this is a practice. This isn't perfection, but you should be able to find some joy and peace in the simplest moments. Today's practice, create a feeling of relief for your mind by listening to the following 10-minute meditation. The name of the meditation, you can, if you're not in the course, if you just want to look at it online, you can go to SoundCloud, and my account there is under Angie J, and the meditation that I'm requesting that you listen to today is disassociating from the mind and the thoughts. So that's part of today's lesson. So you can do that. The YouTube video that I mentioned earlier, Tidy Mind How To Part 1, I think that's like a 30 to 40 minute video. But yeah, take a look at that. And really the only thing that you need to do today is just identify a feeling. What are you feeling? As we go through these lessons, tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but in our next lesson, in lesson 3, we're going to talk about change your language. It's not I. So we're going to be changing your language. We're going to listen to part 2 of how to use the tidy mind. And I give you another 10-minute meditation to listen to at the end of that one. But what we're doing is we're labeling these feelings. We're labeling these boxes in the basement. And then as we start to label them, we're going to start to open them, and we're going to start to release some of these things. A lot of you are carrying a lot of heavy baggage from the past that you don't have to be carrying. And it's all being carried through these labels. The labels are kind of like the way the mind identifies it and the stories that it tells around. It's kind of like the tape sealing the emotion in the box. The emotion would have left a long time ago. And it may have, like at the time of the event, it may have, you felt it, you felt the pain, it come up and out. But what the mind did is said, hey, I got a lot of attention through that. Let me retell her the story of what happened back then, and she'll feel the emotion of that all over again. So now you've got a box now, and anytime your mind wants to play that record for you, anytime DJ Judge wants to tell you that story, out it comes, out all that pain comes, and you have to relive it and feel it again. Something could have happened 10 years ago, and you may still be reliving the pain of that event. What I'm trying to help you do is to, by going down into the basement or in the past room of your tidy mind house, is to see that, and to see that that pain, that your mind could have healed from that, especially if it was a trauma a long time ago. But because it then created a story out of it, it keeps telling you that story over and over, and you keep reliving it, and now you think you'll never get better. Now you think you'll never get past this, and your mind will include that in the story. I'll never be the same. Things will never be the same for me. I'm a different person now. I'll never get that old me back, which we're constantly changing. Don't get your old me back. None of us want our old me back. We want the better version of old me anyway. But you get what I'm saying. The mind will keep you stuck in that emotion. So through this first week, I'm kind of tricking you into seeing what's in your basement, what the deeper work is to do. And we're seeing how your mind keeps you stuck in that emotional suffering. And what stories, what records that DJ spins for you to keep you in that pain. Okay? And we want to release those boxes, and out it comes. And really the only reason we ever go back into the past is just to say one final goodbye. It's not so that we can relive it and suffer in it and pull the pain up again. That's what the mind wants to do. It wants to drag you down into the basement. Come on down here with me. Remember when this happened and how horrible that was and how they treated you and how Yeah, I do, and it was horrible. Oh, and stuck we are. We are stuck. So what we're wanting to do is say, hey, this is something the mind keeps pulling up, and it put a piece of tape across that, and it said, I can stimulate this pain for her or him anytime I want to, just by telling the story. No. So we want to go down there one last time, and we want to get what we can out of that story, learn what the pieces that we needed to learn from, and we want to learn how to parent ourselves better maybe than we were ever parented. And then we want to say goodbye to that and say, I don't need that story anymore. I don't need that story. My mind is keeping me stuck in that story, and I can't move forward if I keep buying into it. So that is the only purpose to go down there in that basement with those stored emotions, so that we can say, hey, both, so we can say goodbye to that one last time. Okay? So that's a bigger part of why we're doing this work, but first we want to take it slow and just get to know what our mind likes to talk to us about, and just start to label those feelings. Very simple, nothing complicated. This does not have to be overwhelming. If I've told other people, if at any point you start to feel like this isn't, like your mind freaks out a little bit about something being suggested, don't go there, okay? None of this is mandatory at all. Every single bit of this that I mention or suggest to you is optional. And you know you, and if you feel uncomfortable, step back from it for a little bit. Maybe get into the course, ask me a question, maybe see if I can help you untangle from that and work through that, and we'll move on, okay? So don't stress yourself out. Don't let your mind stress you out over the process of healing the mind, because it will. It will use anything. You're using this to help the mind and to heal the mind, but yet the mind can flip it around on you and make it something else to suffer over. Don't do that. There is no pressure around any of this content here. I have a lot of people who get in here and they're like, oh my God, I'm doing it. And their mind's like, you're doing it wrong and you're not getting it right and you'll never understand it. And it's like, your mind, I swear. Like, you're trying to understand it and it is attacking you for trying to work with it. So don't go there. Just take a step back and say, Angie said, none of this is mandatory. None of this is life or death. Nothing ever is. And it's all okay. I can take my time with it. So that's lesson 2. I hope that helped you. And I will do another surprise live at some point. I'm sorry y'all couldn't hear me at the first of this one. But I hope that helped. And next time we'll move on to lesson 3, change your language. It, that's what I was trying to say. It, not I. Okay, that's it. Y'all go have a wonderful day. All right, bye.